More sex, the better.
I had sex one day out from my show and I won.
I've had sex the night before a show before.
It doesn't matter.
I've had sex the night before a show before.
It was hard, you know, because I didn't have much energy.
Literally.
There we go. Literally.
Coach Greg with Brandon Harding. This is part 2 of our interview. We're answering lots of questions. Part 1, we went over a lot, some good detail. We're going to continue on, and we hope you enjoy this. Don't forget to subscribe and click the bell button after subscribing. It's right next to the subscribe. Press to subscribe, and then the bell. Reed Watterson, is Brandon on a blast?
Yes.
Yes, but it's a small blast, so it's less than the blast that you probably were thinking. Next question. Landon Hicks Training wants to know, is it bad to be on low calories as a growing kid? I've gotten pretty shredded, but my test levels are stupid low and I'm only 5'1" and 110 pounds at 14. I've been training for 3 years and I like you told us build muscle in a deficit. However, I don't know if stunted my growth. What's your thoughts? Well, I'll start. It's not going to stunt your growth if you're lean. No, it doesn't stunt your growth. If you were on an anorexia, if you're anorexic, yes. But if you're just like lean, that's normal.
Yeah.
5'1", you might not even gone through puberty. I don't think my brother was 5'1" and 110 pounds at 14. My twin wasn't that big.
I feel like the myth of bodybuilding at a young age stunts growth. I feel like that's a myth.
It's an absolute myth. Everyone's like, "Oh, you're so short because you train." My twin is 3 inches shorter than me.
Yeah. No.
So explain that. No. So yeah, I don't think you should be worried. Your calories shouldn't be so low that you're starving. You shouldn't be walking around at 5 or 6% body fat. So if you're like too shredded, start eating more. But if you're like a normal looking kid, then you're fine.
And it also depends what your goals are. Like if you're that young, you're in a deficit because maybe you started out your like genetics, so that you're a chubbier kid and you're trying to like just like be in a deficit to get to a good foundation. And now you want to like, you know, build muscle. Don't just explode out of the deficit and just instantly start having 4,000 calories. Just like slowly increase and get to like a good maintenance, a stage where you're happy and you're like just relatively pleased with progress. And like I feel like in the beginning stages when you're super young, like progress is super fast. Like you don't need to do much. You don't need to be on a crazy amount of calories to build muscle. It's you know, beginning gains are a very real thing. So
yeah, and puberty, it's like being on the biggest blast of your life.
Yeah.
It's like you're growing like crazy.
Yeah.
It's an unreal. So this one you'll like. Aaron H10 wants to know, is eating ass anabolic? I didn't make that question up.
Is eating ass anabolic? Definitely.
It's absolutely anabolic. 100%. Everyone knows that.
Definitely, especially on prep when you got cravings.
And it's best to do so after the workout, which I have already answered in a previous Q&A.
Definitely, especially when you're, you know, after a workout, you can't eat the calories you want. You're pretty hungry. Ass is great.
Yeah, much better. Right, babe?
But don't get that pink eye.
Yes. She paid attention. She watched the last one. Don't have pink eye. Don't spread that shit. So, David Chrono wants to know, what are the plans for the future with Brandon? Well, it's not really me to decide, so I'll let him answer this. What is the plans?
Future plans? I'm in the off-season now, and I'll be on it until hopefully April. I want to be competing around September for my first pro card attempt. I've only done amateur shows in the past, and I haven't done shows that give out pro cards even if you win. But I want to step things up, and I want to, you know, achieve pro status to, you know, further the career in bodybuilding. So the next goal is to try to get a pro card in and around September time-ish. We're not too sure yet. I was meant to do some shows in America, but I can't get into America. There's a whole different story. So we're going to be doing some in Europe, whether it be NPC, IFBB. There's even a federation called Two Bros in the UK right now that give out pro cards under the IFBB. So a lot of options, but my goal is to get a pro card. Yeah,
so obviously the goal is to win a pro card this year. Yeah, if it doesn't happen, next year. And then once you get a pro card, you try to win a show. That's a pro show. Unless you're me, you go for top 5. But now I'm going for top 3.
Top 3.
Top 3. So maybe we'll go against each other, and you can get second or first, and I can get third, and I'll be pumped. That'll be awesome.
Okay.
And next, Braxton8089 wants to know, oh, can you achieve your physique naturally? I can't. Can you achieve your physique natural? Do you think you could get this big 100% natural?
Well, I've only been training for 6 years, and if I was to, I've been natural until I was just before 20, and now I'm almost 23, so 3 years, almost unnatural. I would like to think that it's possible to achieve the same progress in a certain amount of life, maybe 10 years, 12 years, but I'd like to get to a point where it was definitely unachievable. You know, like looking at my physique, I know some people that are maybe just as big as me, but they're like 30. They're a little bit older. I think my physique is definitely achievable naturally, but I would also like to think that it's not, because I would like to think that I'd surpass that through what I've done.
Yeah, I know mine isn't, because I didn't take anything until I was in my 30s, and I was already as big as I could get in the 170s.
Yeah.
So,
well, that's the thing.
I couldn't. Other people, I do think other people in the world with alien DNA, the best genetics, could be as big as I am right now and be natural. Guys who are like the Mr. Olympia Open class, like Phil Heath. I think if Phil Heath were natural, or like a Jay Cutler or Ronnie Coleman, natural, they'd still beat me, even if I'm on everything.
I feel like it's an endless conversation, because I never untapped my natural limit. I never reached my full potential as a natural athlete, which I don't even think you can hit for at least 15 to 20 years of like natural bodybuilding. So I'll never know. I'll never know if my
So we can't answer your question. Maybe.
Sorry. Maybe.
Deuce's Money wants to know, how do I know if I have the physique to compete? Well, you don't. You just compete. That's my answer.
You just have to step on stage and see. You will never know what you look like next to the people you look at on Instagram. You can spend all day critiquing yourself and being like, that person has this better ab genetics or this wider back, but you'll never actually know until you stand next to that person on stage.
And honestly, like, looking back when I compete, I would be in the warm-up room pumping up and be like, there's no way I can beat any of these guys. Those 5 are going to beat me. And then I'd win, and I would win by a lot. I'd be like, what?
Yeah.
It's shocking. So you don't even know, looking at yourself, even rip, you don't know until you stand on stage with the proper lighting and the judging, and you're like, oh my goodness, that person's good. So you just have to do it.
It's crazy, even being backstage and seeing these people you're going to be against, looking at them, like at my last show at Body Power, the one that actually won, I was the youngest on stage, and I was looking at these guys and their legs were huge, and I just thought, you know what, I've got 5th or 3rd or whatever, and I ended up winning, because you just don't know, not just what the judges are looking for, but you just don't know what you're going to look like next to these people. Like, you have to do it to know.
Yeah, you might look amazing and get last place and be like, what the heck happened? It happens.
Because you spent so long looking at yourself in the mirror being like, oh, I look fucking sick, I look amazing, when actually you look like shit. So who knows?
Peter Jakovsjelegovig wants to know, what do you think about blast and cruise? Well, personally for me, I think it's a bad idea if you're really young. So if you just started, if it's your first cycle, say, I don't think you should do it. I think you should go off. If you're older, I think it's a good idea as opposed to just going on and off. But if you're really, really smart and you're old and you don't want to risk your health, HRT to me is the way to go. Like if you're like my age.
Yeah, I think it depends what your goals are as well. If you want to be a pro bodybuilder, the blasting and cruising is obviously the best thing to do, because there's no point in like blasting and then coming off and then
losing all your gains.
Not necessarily all of it, but like, you know what I mean?
A lot of it, yeah.
If you try, it all depends what your goals are. If you're just trying to like look sick next to the person in the bar next to you, or just like be the biggest of all your friends, like blasting and cruising isn't the best thing to do, because you do need to like worry about your health, think about your health. But obviously,
health's important.
If your goal is to be a pro bodybuilder, you might as well just throw health out the fucking window, because like that's your goal. But you have to be willing to sacrifice health for that goal. But there's no reason you should sacrifice health to just be the biggest guy in the room.
Braxton 8089 also wants to know, rate Larry Wheels, the powerlifter strongman dude, Chris Bumstead, Allie's favorite.
You like Chris?
She loves Chris. She wears his clothing.
You should have been here the other day.
Oh, I know.
I know.
She likes a geographical guy more than him now, though. Jimmy G.
I don't know who that is.
Football players,
49ers quarterback.
He
looks like
Jimmy Garoppolo.
I don't know who that is.
Jimmy Garoppolo, I think. Oh, so anyway, getting back, and your own client, Brandon Harding, compared to you. Okay, so I can do this quite easily.
Okay.
Chris Bumstead would destroy me and win by a mile. Next would be me. I would beat Brandon Harding. Still better than Brandon. He's not pro.
Definitely.
He will be better later, but not right now. Then it would be Brandon Harding, followed by Larry Wheels would be in last place. But if it was for strength, well, Larry Wheels would win.
Larry would win. for sure.
Then I'd probably get second, and then Chris would probably
So this
get
is all
third.
of us. This is all of us.
Probably
This
get
is all of
fourth.
us lined up on stage. Yeah, I think it would be Larry, me, you, Chris. Definitely.
Yeah, so we agree.
100%. Chris, it would be wrong. It would be rude of us to
Imagine,
say like,
oh,
it
I
would
can
be
beat
Chris.
Chris.
Yeah,
You'd be
yeah,
like,
yeah.
Greg, you didn't even win the Niagara Falls. What are you talking
You
about?
just won the Olympia.
Chris would beat me natural.
And
there you have it.
Larry
Chris
Wills-
could be natural, and he would go on stage and beat me.
Larry Wills is very big. He has a great physique, but he's just a ball of muscle.
He doesn't have the symmetry, the shape to do this. His legs don't match his upper body. He's super strong, but he's not at that elite level yet. He's not pro. Ivan Igvik2 wants to know, maybe discuss workout splits with Brandon. Okay, so you can tell him your workout split. There you go.
Right now?
Yes.
Okay, so workout split is push, pull, legs, but with a bit of a twist. So essentially I'll be doing chest, shoulders and triceps on one day, so like day one, and then I'll do back and deadlifts, but I won't be doing biceps on back day. So it's not even like push pull legs really,
It's
is
a
it?
bit of a difference.
It's a bit of a difference. So I don't do biceps on back day, but I will do legs. So quads, hamstrings, calves, but I will do a bicep and calf superset at the end. So it's kind of push pull legs with a twist.
And mine is
And then repeated.
back, chest, triceps. So it's kind of like a antagonist, agonist. All you smarty pants know what that is. And it's legs, and then it's everything left. So you can name it. This guy, this, the calves. This guy has a million questions, but we'll pick one of them. Shiken One Chen wants to know, how far do you think Brandon is from his genetic limit? There, how far do you think? So basically, how much muscle do you think you can put on before you're tapped out forever on your life?
If you look at the classic cap now being
230 amateur, 240 pro?
Yeah, exactly. If you look at that, my cap, based on everyone else's genetics and what everyone else looks like, I have the potential to probably gain another 45 pound of muscle, but I don't know in my lifetime if I will ever cap out at the weight cap, just because me adding an extra on a pro stage 49 pounds to my physique right now, I don't know whether that's even possible.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think he'll ever. I've had a lot of questions in the comments. You should tell him to go open pro. He's not going to be big enough. I don't see that in him to be 260, 270 on stage. It's just so big.
I don't have the right shape to do open bodybuilding or even. I love classic because I feel like I fit into that category more so. I'm not like a round blob of Phil Heath kind of muscle. Like I don't have the same like structure as those guys, and I didn't even think that with a lifetime of work that I could look like those guys. Like classic is where I'm happy. Yeah, I don't know if I ever could look like that. So classic is what I'm made for.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see him going out of classic, so I think it's great. It's a great division.
Yeah.
I mean, why would you want to look bigger than that? Anyway, really, I mean, it's just so crazy. Like, I switched from being out of classic to classic, so I think it's a...
But I feel like the question, like, how far away am I away from my genetic capacity? I would...
Like in time, maybe they want
In time? Yeah, in time.
Like 5 years, 10 years?
I'm 20, almost 23. I would say another... Maybe even another 10 years.
I think 7.
I don't want to.
I'm going with 7.
I don't want to bodybuild for like my entire life, so I'm as far away from it as I'm willing to go. I decide how far away I am.
Bodena Zabrazia Sap wants to know, just want to ask you guys, what do you do if you hit the wall with the main lifts? If I plateau, I change the weight up and the rep range. So if I'm stuck at 3 plates for 20 reps over, I just can't break the 20. Like, enough of this. I'm gonna do 365 and do 10. Then I'll do 225 for 40 or 50, whatever, 405 for 10. Then I go back to that original weight that I was plateaued at, and then I try to PR it.
Okay, so
that's what I've done over my
So
lifetime.
you'd set a plan of action. So if you plateaued, you try and reach a different PR and like a different rep range.
Exactly,
and then go
different
back.
PR, different rep range. This is how I've trained my whole life.
All right.
Every lift, bench press, squat, deadlift, it was always at a record from the age of 10 till now. I have a record for every weight increment up to 5 pounds. I used to have like my record for 100, 225, 235, 245, 250, all the way up to infinity or whatever.
Okay.
So yeah, that's what I do.
So even now I'm learning. So I didn't know the answer to that question. I don't know what you do when you plateau because I haven't. I can't speak from experience, but obviously you...
Yeah, he's too young to plateau. Kitagaji wants to know, does masturbation kill your gains? No!
No.
No.
I feel like there's the whole like, you know, don't fap on prep, but I feel like it really doesn't do anything. If anything, it's just more cardio.
What do you think, babe?
You think?
Do you think masturbation kills your gains? Male, female?
Where did that
No.
even start? How did that originate?
Rocky? Maybe a movie?
Like
Rambo?
an arm or forearm.
No,
balance.
I feel like there's the whole, you know, if you're like about to step on stage or like have like a fight in boxing, people say like don't have sex.
They used to do that.
People say like don't have sex the night before or like a week leading up to the show because of testosterone and all
Yeah,
these things.
people used to not have sex for a week before a football game when I was in university, which was like 50 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
My friends wouldn't have sex a week before the event, and they had a game every weekend, and their girlfriends were pissed. And they're like, what do you think? I'm like, that's just silly.
It's
More
bullshit.
sex, the better.
I had sex one day after my show and I won.
I've had sex the night
It
before a
doesn't
show
matter.
before.
It doesn't matter.
I've had
It
sex
was-
the night before a show before.
It was
so.
hard, you know, because I didn't have much energy.
Literally.
There we go. Literally. There we go. But, you know, one rice cake does the job. Big carbs.
Jikawookwoo. Does it matter how long a workout lasts? Yes.
Yeah.
Next question. Okay, why are powerlifters so big?
Powerlifters are probably doing powerlifting because they are that big.
Exactly. What came first, the chicken or the egg? They're not big because they powerlift.
Yeah.
That's what a lot of people, that's why they think you need to max out because
Yeah,
these
no.
big powerlifters. No, they're huge dudes and they're not good at running marathons, and then they lay down, they bench press 400 pounds. They're like, oh, this is good sport for me. And then they eat a lot and they bench a lot. That's how they do it. This is how it works. Before the chicken and the egg.
Yeah.
That's why.
they're
That's why marathon runners are so skinny. It's not because they marathon. Well, it is a bit, but they generally are ectomorphs to start with.
Yeah, I feel like, you know, a lot of these like strong men, they're eating like 10,000 calories a day and everything. They obviously are going to build like some mass like doing that. Obviously, it's impossible to not like lifting the weights they are, training the way they are, eating the way they are. They will get bigger, but a lot of the reason like powerlifters that are like 6'5" up and just mass monsters, they're not that big because they powerlift. They powerlift because they're that big. It's the other way around.
Michael Shabishkowski. Greg, even if you PCD properly, I've heard you can't keep all roid gains. Can you please elaborate your thoughts on this? Okay. It depends.
Without a cruise, just PCT.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're probably going to lose some gains, and some of them might be water, not actually muscle. But if you're past your genetic limit, you can't stay. Your genetic limit here, if they put you beyond it, you can't stay above it. You can only be at your limit.
Yeah.
So I'm beyond my genetic limit right now. So if I go totally natural, I'm going to shrink. I can't. But if you're 20 years old and you're in your first cycle and you put on 20 pounds, you might keep a lot of it because you're not even near your genetic limit yet. Next question from EppenG8 wants to know, does Brandon Harding have the most potential you've ever had in a client? I would have to say the second most. I would say Ian Valere, who coaches Chris Bumstead, had the most potential.
Which I think's
Have you seen Ian Valere?
Yeah.
So when I was coaching him, he was your age, and he won overall, whatever it was, amateur Olympia. He was
Okay.
a monster, 5'9", 220 shredded.
Which I think is really cool. by
It
the
looked
way.
ridiculous. It
But
was like, what am I looking at?
Yeah, it's like, in my mind, one thing that I think is pretty cool about this whole situation is that you coached Ian coaches Chris, but things that Ian knows is from you.
Well, some of it, he's
Some of
obviously
it.
expanded,
Obviously,
had different
yeah.
coaches.
Not everything Ian knows is
But
because
Ian
of Greg,
used to have
obviously.
popcorn.
Yeah.
Popcorn every day. I would get the check-in, you can eat 2 extra bags, and he had PB2 banana sandwiches, the whole thing, the same like type of diet. Obviously, it was less options than now, but
Yeah, what I'm saying is that I feel like I'm in good hands. That's all I'm saying.
yeah. So anyway, I would say the second most potential, which is good because I've coached like 1,700 people so
I'm
far.
happy with that.
So that's pretty good odds. Kenny Markelli wants to know, you say there's no reason to really bulk in the off season. So do you agree with Brandon's decision to gain weight, or do you think he could have easily gained the muscle he wanted and maintain a better body fat percent to decrease the cut for a show? So I'll start by answering by saying he didn't actually gain a bunch of fat.
Yeah, no.
He hasn't bulked and gotten fat. He's slowly added muscle. So technically he's done exactly what I've said. He's kept the condition. I don't see a fat guy here. If I come over and I'm like, holy, moon face, chubby man, fatso.
Yeah.
No, I watch his videos. I see what he looks like. I see his progress photos. He sent progress photos and they're just ripped. I was like, 15% body fat. That's perfect off season. So
calling it a bulk is one thing, but actually going on a bulk is a very different thing. Obviously, like, I mean, what are you going to call it? Like muscle gain period? No, it's a bulk. Like, it's what it is. But I've not by any means like actually bulked up. My maintenance body fat is probably like 13% if I was just like eating a maintenance. Like if I was just chilling at like 2,500 calories, I'd probably be around 13-12%. But right now I'm only at like 15-16%, but I'm on like 3,500 calories. I'm in like a slight surplus, which is great because I'm not like on a crazy amount of calories to get to that bulked appearance of moon face. And I'm also not taking a bunch of supplements that would, you know, help like make me gain a bunch of water. I am bulking, but I'm not bulking.
Yeah, I think it's just we're
I'm doing it
confusing
the right
the
way.
terms. Like it's just like
it's
what's the word for that? Semantics, babe.
Sorry, I wasn't paying attention.
It might be semantics, but I don't have that best vocabulary. Who knows?
I'm doing things the right way. I'm taking the off season steadily and trying to gain weight very. Yeah, steadily. That's the right word. I'm not trying to pack on a bunch of weight tomorrow.
Good question here. Kid Mesk says, how much time do you think it's going to take, just in theory, like we don't know, for Brandon to compete with the pros, not just winning a pro card, but also being in the O? You want me to start or?
I think 4 years.
4 years, he says. So what do I think? I think he'll be a pro within 1 year, and then as a pro, he's got probably 3 years. So 3 years. So we're December 2019. So that makes 2022 for you math geniuses out there.
2022, I think 2023. I don't know.
There we go. Bren Moore wants to know, do we have any muscle building tips for females? The same exact tips for males. Every single one is the same. No difference. That's my tip. Okay. Whatever I say or anyone says a man should do, you do the same. Muscle's muscle, male or female.
It's crazy. You just think
it's not
of
like a friggin' muscle has a vagina.
I'm actually I'm actually trying to think of like tips in my head, but you're just like, it's the same. Like the most, because obviously like that's true. And I'm just trying to think like, what's gonna make me sound intelligent next to Greg? But you're just like, the same. I don't know, man. You're just great. Like,
you just gotta be honest and say it like it is.
Yeah.
That's it. It's the same.
Say
like
how
Allie's muscles are the same as mine, except they're smaller. They don't have like little vagina flaps. There's no vulva on it. I haven't seen a muscle with weird. It's like, oh, you gotta do this differently. You have to do plie squats because you're a girl. No, do the same thing.
Yeah.
That's how she trained. She had the big deadlift, squats, bench, all it's trained like me, copied what I did.
Yeah, if you see the boys doing it, the girls should do it.
Yeah.
She used to have the best advice. She would say, girls, do what the guys are doing. Don't watch the girls, because half the time they're wearing those stupid freaking, what are they, the things around the legs, and they're squatting and leg pressing and doing cardio, and they're everything. They won't squat. Oh, I want to build a booty. I won't squat. They won't do anything hard.
Yeah,
so many women don't train hard enough.
They adapt the machines to make all these weird things that it's just just do the exercise how it's supposed to be done.
Yeah, stop reinventing everything.
I feel like that's the fault of the education system, bringing girls up to think that if they lifted a weight, they'd be a bodybuilder.
Yeah, it's the myth that keeps coming on, and it's a vicious cycle.
Everyone should do the same thing, male or female.
Peter Harder wants to know, is it harder to lose 1 kilogram of fat if you're 25% fat or if you're 10% fat?
Well, the heavier you are, it's easier to lose.
Way easier. If you're friggin' this big, all you have to do is go to sleep and you might lose 1 kilogram of fat. If you're 5% body fat, it's like mind-blowing hard. So yeah,
I feel like at the peak of a bulk, if you were like, if you were on like, let's just say a dirty bulk and you were like 250 pound, to lose like 10 pound, you could do something as simple as just cut out junk food and you could drop 10 pound of water. But if you were, like 10 pound out from stage weight, to lose that last 10 pound, it is like trying to get blood out of a stone. Like it is not easy. Like the fatter you are, the easier it is to lose. Yeah,
like for me right now, I mean, to lose 5 pounds, that's all the fat I can lose.
Yeah.
But if I were 50 pounds overweight, well, geez, the 5 pounds I could lose it in a week.
For me to lose 5 pounds, I just not eat my next meal.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah, so that's an easy answer there. How unhealthy is it to take pre-workout 6 days a week?
Very.
He says very, and I say not unhealthy at all.
I have a bad experience. I basically took too much pre-workout. I used to work in a gym when I was 18, and having an unlimited supply to pre-workouts, I would mix and do silly things, and I had an overdose of L-taurine. It created pressure buildup in my body, and it created exertional headaches in the back of my head. And I went to the doctors, and they thought I had a bleed on the brain and all these things. I would like tense a bicep, and my head would throb because the pressure in my body was so heavy just from taking too much pre-workout. And I tried to self-diagnose myself, and the doctors were like, "You don't know what you're talking about, you're only 18." But I was actually correct, because they wanted to like stick a needle in my back to take out spinal fluid, a lumbar puncture, whatever it was, because they thought, "Oh yeah, if you've got a bleed on the brain, tumor." And I was like, "No, it's just too much pre-workout." I think too much pre-workout is bad.
If you abuse it or take too much or you're sensitive to it, it's bad even occasionally. But if you're fine with it, it's not too bad, I guess.
Well, my experience isn't just either, because I was abusing it.
You drink a lot of those.
Yeah, I was.
You ever see this? And then I seen this. The Monsters. He's drinking this all 6 days a week. So he's saying, "Oh, it's so dangerous," but he's drinking 2 Monsters a day, probably.
True. And when I was abusing pre-workout, I wasn't just having 1 scoop. I was doing a couple. You know, I was really.
I do have a warning. Tiger's Blood, Rise, Tiger's Blood. I had a client and he called me and he's like, "Oh man, the pre-workout's like, oh." I'm like, "You started with half a scoop like I said, right?" "No, I took the full scoop." I said half a scoop. It's dangerous to take too much of something if you can't handle it. So be careful with pre-workouts. Don't start with the max dose. Start slow and build yourself up. But my opinion, which is not valid and useless because I'm not a doctor, is I can take pre-workout every single day and I'm fine. Brandon, he might get a brain hemorrhage and have a back bleed and a what else would he? Spinal fusion.
They wanted to check my spinal fluid to see if I had a bleed on the brain.
That sounds serious.
Yeah.
So don't take pre-workout.
No
unless
pre-workout.
it's Tiger's Blood and it's half a scoop.
Too much of anything can be bad for you, unless it's like, you know,
Unless it's sex.
French toast or something like that.
Or eating ass.
Yeah, it's okay.
Right, babe?
No, that can be bad for you. We already talked about that.
That's right. Be careful. Pink eye. Big Daddy Lifts 91. How do you deal with labor-intensive job during prep? You just deal with it. You do it.
Yeah.
You're burning off more calories, do less cardio, and eat accordingly.
I would rather be at work on prep. Prepping, doing like YouTube as a job is so much harder than doing it if you had like something to do every day. I feel like, because I have like free time in the day,
yes,
that's so much more spare time to think about food and filling up my time. Like if I had something to do 10 hours a day, like a job, I'd be burning more calories because my daily expenditure would just go through the roof because I'm just walking and being active, especially if you have a manual labor job like you're saying. I would rather work on prep because I'd be busier. My mind would be busier thinking about what I've got to do at that job, not just prepping. Personally.
Subscribe and click that bell button. You'll get a swoosh. Brandon's channel, you get a swish. And on her channel, which is just IG, you get a poof, poof, poof. That's all you get. Yeah, you can watch her, Allison Smith, Allison Cattery. What the heck is this stuff?
Naked Sphinx Cattery.
Naked Sphinx Cattery. You can see little pigs running around, little naked sphinxes, little baby bakies, and so on, and like dogs and
baby bakey. I can't believe you call the pig bacon. That's so bad.
Baby bakey. GregDoucette.com for coaching. Greg Doucette IFBB Pro. Follow me on Instagram. How do we follow you?
Brandon Hardbody Instagram, Brandon Harding on YouTube. There we go.
Follow him. We're going to plop up all kinds of stuff. Watch one of Brandon's videos right here. Or you can watch one of mine right here. You have a choice. Okay? So, you know, choices are good. Till next time, we are out.